Welcome to the Steve Show. Today we're going to talk about tracking your success so you can have more of it. So the one big thing about being more successful and gaining more in your life, whatever it is, whatever you're measuring, if it's more income, more clients, it doesn't matter. Anything that you're going to grow, you must track it. You have to measure it. I'll prove to you how this improves this. Just imagine playing a basketball game. I choose that because the score goes high here. But imagine playing a basketball game and you get into the third or fourth quarter and there's no scoreboard. How can you be, if you're the coach or you're even playing the game, how do you know how hard to play? You're just gonna have to go as hard as you can and hope to win. And maybe like next week, they're gonna reveal the score once they tally things up. It doesn't motivate you throughout. So tracking things allows you to motivate yourself throughout. Am I getting close to what I want? Am I doing enough? I mean, another analogy is if you don't track your success in your business, looking at your numbers, then it's kind of like driving a car without a dashboard. Imagine you have your dashboard and you put a towel over it and you can't see how fast you're going, so you have a good chance of getting a ticket because you don't know how fast you're going. You don't know how much gas you have, so the fuel in your vehicle could run out. So what are you going to do? Fill up your car every day just to make sure that you don't. And this is how some of us that don't track and we're doing, you might sit there right now and say, I'm doing okay, Steve. I don't track things and I'm doing fine. Well, that's like whatever you're doing in your business, that's just getting by. You know, it's how much are you leaving on the table? What more opportunities would you have if you tracked? And are you doing the thing where you're filling up your car with fuel every day just to make sure that you don't run out because you don't know? Or you don't know if you're going to run out of oil and your motor is going to blow up. So you wouldn't drive without a dashboard. You wouldn't play sports without a scoreboard. So why in your business or in your life? Because you can do this around fitness, weight loss. Like if you wanted to be stronger, you can track the measurement of your muscles, the measurement of your waist. You can track how many calls you make a day to all the way to how many new clients you have. And my clients, and when I look at it, and even for me, the amount of calls that I make, I know that if I make five phone calls to get a speaking gig, then I'll get a speaking gig. And that's usually at the worst. Sometimes I call and it's like 2, 3, but I can sit in my mind and say, if I just make 5 phone calls, I'm going to get another speaking gig if I need to reach out. That's one of the things that I track heavily. And, I have clients, they know that if they make 10 phone calls, they're going to get a client. So this, as you start tracking this allows you to put the right frame of mind on, and you can say how many calls you need to make. And then that equals a client. And you wouldn't have known that if you didn't put a tally mark there. So when you're making outgoing phone calls, you're tallying those up and you're seeing what's going on. And then week to week, you can see the improvement. You can make a game for yourself. You can say, okay, I made 5 calls this week. I want to make 10 next week or whatever it is. But more importantly than one-upping yourself is consistency, knowing that you have that consistency. And I've even looked in my own life where I'm like, wow, I didn't do as much, or I didn't speak as much this month or next month is not looking as full. I can directly look at what I'm doing and see that I didn't do as much. And then it's a big register like, oh, duh, you didn't do as much, you don't have as much. It allows us to keep a pulse on there. So this way you don't wake up one day and say, oh, wow, I don't have that as many clients as I had 3 months ago. Because it's always a domino effect. If you don't make calls this month, it's usually 2 or 3 months away when it actually hits you, that you don't have. That's how a lot of clients that I meet before they start working with me and entrepreneurs, they have this up and down. They sell themselves a bunch of work, then they do the work and they're back in the valley, and then they sell more and then they go back in the valley. And if you actually measured and tracked and kept consistency, you can actually have an upward growth and sustain it. So since we're early in 2016, I wanted to really hit this today. And this is how simple it has to be. All you have to do is open up an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Docs spreadsheet and just track whatever you want to do. How many calls you're making. Did you go for a jog today? Are you running? Are you going to the gym? Just mark that off. Whatever you want to improve in your life in 2016, start tracking it. If it's your weight, then you should weigh yourself every day and you will see a difference. A couple of years ago, I started doing that, and then I can actually see if I goofed off too much in a weekend, then you see it on Monday's scale. And you notice, you're like, oh wow, and you notice really fast rather than waiting a whole month and getting way out of whack on what you want to do with your diet. And then all of a sudden you added 10 pounds or more to yourself. You want to notice when you get 1 or 2 pounds and then say, I don't want that. And then you're going to make different decisions in your life. So whatever you're tracking, whatever you want to improve, make sure that you start tracking it. And I'd love to hear from you. When you start doing this, give some questions, feedback, whatever you have. Just drop a comment here, ask the questions. I do get involved in there and I will comment, respond back. And if you really love this video, then subscribe. We have a lot more coming for you. So I look forward to talking to you.